Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And oh, it must be hard to be Humza Yousaf. Every time you want to announce something or say something, people just look at you as though you're lying or you can't be trusted or that they just know that what you're going to do is fail. And that's because they've seen your record where you lie and can't be trusted and going to fail. And so he's tried his very, very best, which isn't really good, but he's tried his very, very best to build a business-friendly image. Now, this is the man, of course, who's done his absolute utmost to destroy all industry and business in Scotland, and now realises, oh my God, I absolutely need these people on my side. And having really quite damaged them quite effectively, it's come to the realisation far, far too late that he needs their help. So he's trying to build this business-friendly image, and of course the businesses themselves are going, on your bike, mate, we don't trust you. And there is no confidence at all in him delivering anything that he can say he's trying to do. Because, again, they've seen his record of failure after failure after failure. So, what do you expect, Humza? Anyway, we'll take a quick look at this to see why, once again, right at the beginning of a new initiative, it is born into darkness and failure. And he knows it. Here goes. So, hammer blow for Humza Yousaf's business-friendly image. I'd imagine, given his politics, actually, hammer and sickle blow for Humza Yousaf's business-friendly image as companies lack confidence in SNP government, and not just companies. The First Minister said he wanted to offer a new deal to the sector. Great. Resign. That'll help. But he's continued to form a government with the anti-growth Scottish Greens, which results being branded as abysmal. How can you say you're pro-business when you align yourself to a party whose absolute raison d'etre is to destroy all industry? You can't do it. You cannot circle that square. And it is just impossible. So no wonder he's got that silly looking face of trying to be a dyslexic duck, wondering what the hell he's trying to do. He can't do anything. He's hands tied. He's tied himself to the Greens and now is trying to be pro-business. You can't have it both ways, mate. Humza Yousaf has been dealt a devastating blow as he tries to cultivate an image of being more business-friendly than his predecessor, Nicola Sturgeon. The SNP leader previously said he wanted to offer a new deal to companies who had grown tired of the former First Minister's distant approach. They all have. This is why so many companies in Scotland, and there are a lot of them, are moving south of that border. Some big industries too, some big businesses. But a new poll suggests a meagre 9% of businesses agreed or strongly agreed that the Scottish Government understands the landscape in the country. They haven't got a clue, and they never will, because they're so distantly removed from real people. Secondly, none of them have ever had a real job. They're all, professional politicians. Thirdly, the main point of being in the SNP is very left-wing politics, almost Marxist politics, which don't like free enterprise, don't like capitalism, and so don't understand it, and it don't understand the policies of it fully. There are many other reasons, but these are the big three, and on top of which, really, the big overarching one is, of course, they've tied themselves to the Greens, and that screwed them. 64% disagreed when asked if the Scottish Government understood the business industry. SNP ministers were also in the firing line, with just 8% of businesses agreeing that they and officials engaged effectively with the business community, compared to 67% who disagreed. Over 2/3 of the business people in Scotland said that the Scottish Government does not engage properly with businesses. Businesses are the lifeblood and backbone of every economy, particularly small businesses. Small and medium SMEs are the single most important branch of any nation. Defence is first. If you're going to have a nation state, you have to have a government, you have to have defence. The third thing you need is business, because you need an economy. Without that, you have nothing else. And the government of Scotland does not understand that, and does policies actively designed to harm the very industries it needs. It's like the body saying, "Oh, I no longer need kidneys, I no longer need a liver," and sending its own enzymes out to destroy and eat its own internal organs. That's exactly what the SNP is doing. So it's no wonder Scotland is in the state it is. 80% of respondents in the hospitality sector, which has been hammered by the government over the past 3 years, disagreed with both statements. For both questions, larger companies were more likely to disagree with the statements. Nobody, not one sector of industry in Scotland, not one single sector, be it hospitality, engineering, oil, agriculture, you name it, have said that the Scottish Government are pro-business, that they understand business, that they can communicate with businesses, anything. Not one of them. And that's because they can't. The survey was described as an abysmal verdict on the SNP coalition government with the anti-growth Scottish Greens by the Scottish Conservatives. Shadow Cabinet Secretary for Business, Economic Growth and Tourism, Murdo Fraser, said, in every area of enterprise, the vast majority of firms, in some sectors over 90%, don't believe that the SNP Green government engages effectively or even understands their priorities. Because they're so distantly removed, and psychopathically so. They don't want to engage with people. They're afraid of people. This is why they all travel first class here, business class there, hire their own bloody yacht there. They don't want to mix with ordinary people, because ordinary people might just tell them the truth. And they are, I will quote Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth, because they can't. They are psychologically incapable of dealing with reality. It's been weeks since Humza Yousaf was promising a reset of his party's relationship with Scottish businesses. Itself an admission that of their previous failure. But he's still refusing to pass on the money received from the UK government to give firms rates relief that they would get elsewhere in the UK. Again, this is misuse, misappropriation of funds. We did this yesterday or the day before yesterday with the farmers not getting their funds. And it needs to be that the government in Westminster do not give money to the Scottish Government to pass on, but feed them directly in to where they're needed. The SNP will hate it. Well, the SNP can hate it because they are misappropriating funds to the point of whether it's fraud, just basic misappropriation, fraud or embezzlement, whatever. And it needs investigating, and heads need to roll, and prosecutions need to follow. Murdo Fraser continued, so far there's no indication Humza Yousaf is prepared to listen to or change the policies of that have seen stagnant growth and a host of new burdens and regulations on Scottish firms. He must abandon the stubborn position that was taken with the disastrous deposit return scheme and is being repeated with the short-term lets, the weak regulations that I covered earlier today, where I mentioned that I'd be doing this video. He says they must finally engage with the business community's real priorities. But they won't, because it's too hard for them. It is absolutely beyond their ken. They cannot understand business because none of them have ever been involved with it. Mary Spowage, director of the Fraser of Allender Institute, said the results would be pretty disappointing for the government and said they underlined the importance of the Scottish Government resetting its relationship with business. They haven't got a relationship with business. They find business to be obnoxious and contemptuous. They don't like it. That's why they've not engaged. She said it's therefore more important than ever that the new deal for business leads to changes in approach in the future. These indicators can help us track progress over time and hopefully see improvements in the relationship. The only way businesses in Scotland are going to get any kind of break is with a new government who on day one passes over the monies for agriculture and the monies for rate relief that were given from Westminster. Then they build those relationships, they find out what's needed, and they encourage and back Scottish businesses, and particularly exporting businesses. Not what the SNP do, which is to treat them with contempt, to overtax them and drive them into the ground. David Anderson, head of corporate at Adelshaw Goddard in Scotland, said, this is the firm that helped the think tank undertake the business monitor, said, developing the best environment to do business is essential for the economy to thrive. It absolutely is. Like I said at the beginning, small and medium enterprises are the backbone of every economy. He said, developing the best environment to do business is essential for the economy to thrive. He said, so it's important for policymakers to be aware of the sentiment among business leaders in this regard. More than anything, however, he says the findings emphasise the need for businesses and government to come together and engage more effectively. That will never happen. Not while you got the likes of Humza Yousaf, Shona Robertson and Neil Gray sitting in their high, mighty towers, looking down on us yobs, us proletariat, with a sneer of arrogance and conceit for us normal people. They, the elite, rise above us because they're so much better. Screw them. Let's have a little revolution. Let's dangle some of these bastards from lampposts and see exactly how conceited and arrogant they become then. Anyway, I shall round off and I shall stop and I shall come up. Problem you got is you got the morons of the SNP, you got the room temp IQ of the Greens. None of them know what they're talking about. None of them have ever opened their mind to anything other than absolute stupid thoughts. They keep coming up with insane ideas that they think will work and which everyone looks at immediately knows won't. And then they treat everyone else with contempt because we're below them. They sit in their ivory towers, all-knowing, like the Tower of Bloody Sauron. That's what they are. But they haven't got one eye between them, because they certainly haven't got one idea between them. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. And remember, it'll all be over soon. We'll get rid of them. All we've got to do is convince the SNP voters that these people are pricks. Bye.